And he took the L.
All right, listen up. Hey, because I'm old and slow, when Josie comes in, they called her down to the office, but I will forget. All right, so remind that Josie has to go to the office.
She's going home. She's going to urgent care.
Okay, well then don't worry about it.
She's in urgent care now.
Was she crying?
No, she's
No,
laughing.
she was in like really bad shock.
Good for her.
Good for
What
her.
happened to her finger? Laughing and cute.
Her nail was inside of her skin. It was like.
She's gonna have to get a tetanus shot because she nailed herself. Uh-huh.
When you say how important
Say what?
you say very important.
What the mayor or something? Some politicians are doing.
Can I get
I don't pay attention. No.
I just came from the gym. I guess.
All right, everybody, listen up. Couple quick notes before we get going here. Hey, I don't think they're going to come to class until show at 12. Some politicians or somebody coming to visit the school today. They're just important visitors or business community owners. You're not listening, you're talking. For some reason, Miss Wilson likes me and thinks that I'm a good teacher. I don't know why. But they always end up coming to my class, but our class is over at 12:05, so that's why I don't think they're actually going to come here. But if they do, there's going to be some weird people standing in the back, and it's going to be uncomfortable for all of us. And we'll act like, pretend like they're not here, and Hannah's going to greet them, and you know the deal. No.
Wait, is it Hannah and me?
But just so you know, if that happens, we're just driving all the class. Now listen. Hey,
I lost something very important, man.
Aiden. Please just stop.
This is a big deal.
Aiden. Hey, if chapter 6 was the hardest, chapter 7 was. I didn't think chapter 7 was the hardest. I mean, you guys truly, and this is coming from me, your teacher, you guys did understanding wise of what to do before we took the test. You guys were killing it. Like, you knew what to do. You may not have liked doing it, but I'm saying you knew what to do. And generally speaking, we always got to the right answer. I have not graded the test. I'll grade tomorrow. I'm not worried. It's certainly not going to be like chapter 6 badness. There's probably still some people that did poorly on the chapter 7, but I'm saying I believe truly before I graded that most of you probably passed the test without any too much heartache on it. But we'll see after I grade it. We're going to start the rest of the book today, meaning like, and I told you after 6, it's all downhill. This chapter is, although at times you will think that it's a little overwhelming, it's really not. Today you're going to get every bit of it. It's going to be an easy day. And you're going to wonder why I couldn't do this before that hard stuff, right? But I do need you to not get too overconfident, right? Whatever's going on back there, please stop, right? I don't get too overconfident and say, well, if this is the easy stuff, now I can just stop paying attention. No, there's plenty of stuff that we're going to be doing that you've never done before. This starts the linear equation, the functions portion. But I will say, like I said, in my mind, I just always need to make it through chapter 7 in the book, and then the rest is pretty smooth sailing. So here we go, chapter 8. Obviously, no homework. The next thing that we got going on, calendar-wise, is a quiz, a way long time. There is no section entitled scatter plots. It's an 8th grade. I'm sorry, it's a 9th grade Algebra 1 standard of scatter plots. Our book has an extra section on it, so I teach that section because you guys need to know how to use scatter plots. You'll see it in science class. Depending upon your job, scatter plots are used in lots of jobs, so I make sure I teach it.
You can predict the future. It's a snow day. You know what exactly is going to be a snow day.
Okay, Rylan, I know this is only the 3rd year I've had you as a student.
2nd, actually.
But white is the day that we're on.
You still told the future.
What are you talking about?
How did you know there was going to be a snow day on Tuesday?
I changed my slide.
Why? If you're going to change it next year, then why?
Well, that's true. The reason why is because every year when I look at like where should I be in the year, I can always, hey, why was I ahead or why am I behind? And then I can see, oh, I had a snow day there. So that's why I'm behind a couple days. All right, homework, copy down. These are very quickly done. This is not more than 10, maybe 15 minutes worth of homework. Nice, easy, gentle assignment to get us started. What are you going to tell the people? Today we are learning solving. There you go. All right. The way that you do good in these sections are you got to pay attention. I mean, there's not going to be anything from now on that it's going to be, oh, I remember doing this last year. Nope, not happening. It's going to be new stuff, but you know, I guess the only betting for that is it is the more easier stuff of the book. Here we go. Equations and two variables. All right. I think it's not the easiest. Chapter 1 is the easiest, but it is definitely one of the easier chapters. The big but here about that is that we've solved equations before. We've seen expressions before. Remember, expression are two numbers or two variables or combinations of variables and numbers that have been added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided. Okay. If it's a combination of multiplication and addition, then you have multiple terms, right? Two terms are always separated by addition and subtraction. Okay. This is a numerical expression right here. This is a variable expression. Okay, that was all chapter 1 stuff. Remember way back then. So we've done expressions. Aiden's supposed to be paying attention. We've also done equations. Equations join two expressions. In other words, you put an equal sign between two expressions, and boom, you get an equation. Okay. The only difference between equation and expression is it's got an equal sign, and it's got two expressions. Okay. Here is a numerical equation. Here is a variable or algebraic. We call it algebraic equation because it has at least one variable. Okay. We have chapter 3. Or maybe it was chapter 2. We have solved equations before. Okay. We went through the whole process of a 2-step or even a 3-step equation. We've solved those. We've done it with distributive property. We've done it with variables on both sides. You know, we've done a ton of solving equations this year. That's a big part of Algebra 1. The new stuff today is that the equations will have two variables. You're like, well, I've already seen that. Look, it's got two variables. I'm not talking about this. Notice both of these variables are the same because I could say 2x plus 3x is, so technically there's one variable, it's just x. What I'm talking about is something that looks like this. One's an X and one's a Y. One's an A, one's a B. One's a G, one's an H. So today we will be talking about equations that have two variables. It could be on both sides of the equation. They could be on one side. But you're going to have an equation that has two variables. Okay. What are we going to be doing with this? We're going to be solving them. All right. So think about this. How many variables? One. If you solve this, right? What would you get?
4.5.
No. Solve this, you would get. You'd get 4, right? You do all this process, Aiden. You're looking down, not up, right? You'd be doing this process called algebra. Get rid of what's attached to the x. You do all these steps, and eventually you get down to x equals 4. We've done that before. You know how to solve equations that have one variable. Today, we're doing it with two variables. So it doesn't matter if you solve for x, you still have another variable hanging around there. It's not a comfortable equation because we have two variables. So how do you solve equations that have two or even more variables? That's the question. That's what today's class is about. So it turns out that we're going to be talking about these things called solutions. So let's investigate a solution to an equation that has two variables. Well, let's find one. All right, solutions. All right. Turns out that equations that have two variables don't have a solution. They have plural solutions. In fact, equations of two variables actually have infinite solutions. It's not going to be 1. It's not going to be 2. It's not even going to be 3. It's going to be infinity. That's how many solutions. So go back a slide, right, or slides. How many solutions did we get? X equals 4. That's one number. When we solve this sucker, guess what? There's infinite ones, which sounds impossible. How do we write that answer? We don't write the word infinite solutions because these are real numbers. But there's an infinite number of them. So how in the world does this process work? That's what this chapter is about. It's about solving equations with two variables and somehow we get to infinite solutions, yet somehow we're able to write that out. It's not the infinity symbol, it's something else. Today we'll just do an exploration, and as the chapter progresses, you're going to see what that what that means, infinite solutions. All right, so we're going to be talking about infinite solutions. So let's talk about one solution, right? If I let x be the value 1, and I put it into this equation, what would I get? No, if I let x be the value 1, what would I get? I get 1 plus y equals 5, right? Could you solve that equation?
Yeah.
What would you get? Everybody see what she did? Right? So you get y is equal to 4. So when I let x be the value 1, what did I get? I got y equals 4. When I let x be 1, when I plug 1 in, I get y equals 4. I'll write that right here. So when x is equal to 1, y is equal to 4. Well, there's an easier way of writing that because we're lazy in math. Instead of writing x equals 1, comma, y equals 4, I could write that as, anybody know? I could write that like that. Have you seen that before ever?
Yes.
This is called a, he's close, he said coordinate. You remember what we called this last year in pre-algebra? We called this an ordered pair. Why do we call it an ordered pair? It's ordered and there's 2 of them. 1, 2. Well, what's the order though? Yeah, well, so what's the order of the numbers? Is it least to greatest, or is it something else? It's x and y, right? So this one solution, we said there's infinite, is an ordered pair. We call that an ordered pair. Okay. So there's one of infinite solutions. Okay, that's when x is equal to 1. Let's let x equal to 2. Well, if x equals to 2, plug it in. Okay, so what's the ordered pair? Guess what you're going to be doing today? That. Now let's think about what we just did. I gave you a number, you plugged it in, you did a little bit of math, and you got an ordered pair. You tell me, easy or hard compared to what we did chapter 6, chapter 7? This is crazy easier than what we did chapter 6, chapter 7. I'm going to give you a number, you plug it in, you solve it, you write your answer as an ordered pair. That's ridiculously easy. Okay. All right, write this down, box 1. You're going to have 2 statements in box 1. The first one is this. When you solve equations with 2 variables, you end up getting an infinite amount of answers. Porter, grab a pencil, right? When you solve equations with 2 variables, you get infinite solutions. I know, but this one was in yellow, and it just looked, I would have yellow, yellow, yellow. I decided to put it in blue.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're right. I usually do put what I want you to write in yellow. When we solve equations with 2 variables, we will get infinite solutions. Seemingly impossible. You can't write infinite solutions. You can only write a few of them. We'll answer that paradox later in the chapter. The second statement, when you do find a solution, one of an infinite number, what you're really finding are what are called ordered pairs. You're finding parentheses, parentheses, number, comma, number. That's an ordered pair. It's ordered because it's going to be written x first and then y. And it's a pair because there's 2 numbers. The numbers could be positive, negative, 0. They could be fractions. They could be decimals. But they will always be x, comma, y. 2 statements, box 1. Hey, when you solve equations that have 2 variables, you get infinite answers. Infinite. They never stop. You'd be dead before you even get anywhere near towards the end, which sounds like it's impossible to solve these equations. Well, we got to answer that paradox right there, that conundrum. And lastly, when you find one of the infinite solutions, you're finding an ordered pair. When I look on your paper, Aiden, you got both of these statements written. Both of them, please. This is in fact, the hardest thing to wrap your head around. The fact that you get infinite solutions and the fact that you get something that looks like a point. We're solving an algebra equation and we jump into geometry. We get a point. This is the connection between algebra and geometry, is this right here. Okay, good? All right, ordered pairs. If you need to write this down in box 2, write it down. If you already have this committed, 100% no doubt in your mind, you don't need to write it down. Ordered pairs are always written x comma y with parentheses, with a comma between the two numbers. That's your ordered pair format. It's easy to remember because it's alphabetical, x comma y. Okay. If we talk about a unique solution to any equation of two variables, well, then you're going to get numbers like the one that we just did, 1 comma 4. So this is in general form. If we talk about, hey, all solutions to equations of two variables will look like this, x comma y. If you talk about a specific equation, the one that we just did, x plus y equals 5, here's one possible solution, 1 comma 5. One of infinite. We good? Okay. 2 games today. Here's the first one. I will give you a possible solution. Your answer is either going to be yes, it's a solution, or no, it's not. So I'm going to give you a possible solution. Remember, there's an infinite number of these. You're going to determine whether this ordered pair is a solution to a given equation. I will give you an equation that has 2 variables. You will see if that makes this true or false. If it makes it true, you put yes. If it makes it false, you put no, not a solution. All right, so it's just a yes or no question. So how does this work? Well, step number 1 is you must label. Step number 1, label x comma y. If the kids that make the mistake are the kids that refuse to label. They're like, I don't need to label, I'm never going to forget it's x, y. Yes, you do. And then you plug the numbers in the wrong, because guess what happens? This one won't always read x, y. Sometimes it might read y plus x. Okay? So these don't have to always be in the order that those are. They can be flip-flop. So to keep yourself from making that mistake, you write x, y, so you don't make that silly mistake. You take those numbers, both of them, and toss them into the equation. You let x be the value 1, you let y be the value 4, and you see if it makes it true or false. What do I mean by that? I mean, literally, you do the math. Does 1 plus 4 equal 5?
Yes.
Therefore, is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
That's a yes. Is it really that simple today for homework? It is.
But
We don't make 4th graders do this. They have no idea what they're doing.
Is there a but with it? Is there like a
There's no but. This is I told you, it's an easy day. All right. I guess if there was a but, it's that there will be coefficients to this variable, but it's still not that bad. I will give you an equation. I will give you a possible solution. To find out if it's yes or no, you plug it in. Tell me what to write in.
You write nothing. Right
Before you do any writing, you should do what first? I should label. Is 4 an x or a y?
That's x, and then the 2 is a y.
Okay, so I will label. Step number 1, for those that like steps, by the way, we're in box 3. Step number 1 is we label x comma y. Yes, we did this last year. Okay. Step number 2, plug the numbers in. Tell me what to write. Big fancy word, evaluate means plug the numbers in. Read it from left to right and tell me what to write.
3 plus 2.
That doesn't say
I
3.
don't know. 3 y.
That doesn't say 3.
Okay, oh, I was reading 3 y, but that says 4x.
So instead of x, you're going to write.
4. 4.
So if I write 4, 4, it reads 44, yes?
No. 4 to 3.
Whoa, time out.
Hold on, I already have mine done. It's like,
Well, if you did it that way, then you're going to get it wrong. As you read it from left to right, when you come to a number, you're going to say the number. If you come to a variable, instead of the variable, you go back to here and you replace it with a number with parentheses. Because if you don't put parentheses, then you'd say 44. And it's not 44, it's 4 times x.
okay, 4 times, that's what I'm saying, 4 times x.
Yeah, but it's not x, it's,
The number.
what's the number?
4.
Okay, so 4 times
4
4.
times 4 plus 3 times 2. -2.
Keep talking.
Okay, so
Keep talking. You're not done with the equation.
Equals 10.
Perfect. Now stop. Why do we put the parentheses? We put the parentheses because without the parentheses, it'd be 44.
And three-
Without the parentheses, it would be,
3 minus 2.
and it's not, it's 3 times -2. Okay, PEMDAS, what do we do first? Add or multiply? 4 times 4. 3 times -2. 3 times -2.
-6. -6.
Okay? You see what I did?
Yes.
Now what happened to the plus? Well, it's plus -6, and we all know that plus -6 is really -6. You see what I did?
Yeah.
16 minus 6.
10.
So did the left side equal the right side?
Yes.
So is this a yes or a no?
Yes.
That's what the homework is like for half of it.
No, I definitely did not do it right. I like
He added them.
Okay.
I added them.
Where will you make your mistakes? Well, you have the obvious mistakes of you just don't copy the number down correctly, drop it a negative. Instead of writing a -2, you write a +2. The other obvious mistake are you do the math wrong. 3 times -2 and you write 6 instead of -6.
Hold up.
And then lastly, I guess you can jack up the math just by adding subtracting stuff.
Don't go yet.
But usually the mistakes are dropping negatives. The other mistake, now this one's cool because look, it's written 4x plus 3y. Usually the y comes first and the x comes second. You'll see that a bunch. Okay? So when that's the case, the other mistake is you'll just put the numbers in the wrong spot. We okay?
You're
All right, Chris, read it from left to right. Tell me what to write.
It says 4x plus 3y equals 10. And then that says 3 and -1.
Okay, tell me what to do.
You take the 4 and the 3 and you put them in the parentheses.
Okay, so 4 times 3. Keep going.
And then you times 3,
Okay, keep talking.
which equals 12.
No. Write it before you do any math. Like, tell me what to write.
4, you write down 4 times 3 in parentheses.
Okay, keep going. I like it so far.
And then you do an equal sign. No, you label them. No, yeah.
Label is what I would always say is your first step. Okay, but as you read it from left to right, you just go back the equation left to right, and whatever it tells you to do, you do it. Now tell me what to write.
I told you though.
I know, but you stopped and you started saying some nonsense.
4 times 3.
Like that.
And you label them.
There's no labeling. I already labeled.
Oh, yeah, okay. Then you just write down an equal sign.
No. Okay, this is how easy it is. Imagine if this is covered up and you can't see through my hand, which you can.
Okay.
As I progressively disclose it, what's it say?
4
You write a 4. Then what does it say?
x,
What are you going to write?
4x.
No, you're not.
Why not? Oh yeah.
So what are you going to write?
4, 4y.
Okay, Chris, take a deep breath. Clear your head of all thoughts and the fact there's anybody in here except you and me. I'm going to read this from left to right. If I see the letter X, I'm going to write a 3. If I see the letter Y, I'm going to write a -1. What are your questions? It's that simple. Don't overthink this.
Okay.
I'm going to go from left to right. If I see the letter X, I'm going to write a.
The 3.
If I see a letter Y, I'm going to write a 1 small change. We're going to put parentheses around the X's and the Y's. Okay? But we're not going to write X or Y. We're going to write these values. Now I want you to read that equation from left to right. Literally from all the way on the left to all the way on the right.
All right.
Don't stop until you get to this 0. Tell me what to write.
It says 4x plus 3y.
Tell me what to write.
It's right there though.
It's not.
You said it. You say it when you
Read it from left to right. What's the first thing you see?
I see a 4.
Write a 4.
Okay.
What's the next thing you see?
The x.
What do we write instead of an X?
A 3.
We don't write a 3, we write parentheses 3.
Right.
Keep reading.
I see a plus sign.
Write a plus sign.
Okay. Now I see a 3.
Write a 3.
Okay. All right.
What's the next thing you see?
The y.
Instead of a y, we're going to write,
-1,
we're not going to, it's not a 1.
-1.
And we're going to put parentheses -1. Keep reading.
Okay. And then,
Write an equal sign. Keep reading.
there's a 10 right there.
All right. Why is everyone antsy right now? Huh? Get it?
I don't know.
You didn't get it at all. Why is everyone antsy right now? It's because that's the part that we're stuck on. Why didn't you get that the first time?
Yeah.
All we're going is left to right. That's it. Nothing complicated here. All right. Yes, you did it fine at the very end. Good job. So we write all that stuff, exactly what he just said, and then we do the math. All right. 4 times 3. 3 times -1. 11. Where are we getting 11 from? 4 times 3. 3 times -1. See what I did? 12 minus 3. Not 10. So what's the answer?
No.
No. 9. Oh, that's what I did.
Okay, Chris, yes or no? And the answer can be, I'm not saying this. I'm saying procedure-wise, yes or no? You can say no, it's fine. And by the way, I get animated, I never get mad, right? No?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do another one. Here we go. The rest of you work on this. Hey, Chris, step number 1. You might need to write this on your paper. Step number 1 is label.
Yep.
What are we labeling?
Y and x.
And it goes X, Y, not YX. So step number 1, we label. By the way, this one will kick people's butts. Be careful. Step number 2, you go from left to right. If you come to a variable, you say parentheses, whatever the number is. But you include everything from left to right. Go.
12
I write a 12.
minus
I write a minus. Instead of Y, I'm going to write what?
3.
It doesn't say 3.
3.
And remember, when we get to a variable, we write parentheses.
Right.
Okay. So parentheses -3. Keep reading.
But that's a 5.
So what are you going to write?
12.
You're not. You're going to write parentheses
Parentheses 12.
5. Where are you getting a 12 from?
Right. I'm sorry. I thought you were trying to throw the whole thing over.
Okay, Chris, take another deep breath. Clear your brain. We go from left to right. We don't stop until we're done. We write everything out. We place in the variables, then we do the math. Hey, 2 negatives turn into 3 times 5. True or false?
True.
So what's the answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, questions. Chris, are we closer to a, not the answer, are we closer to a yes or are we closer to a no right now? Yes, I understand what I'm doing, or no, I'm still lost. Are we closer to a yes or closer to a no?
Yes.
And don't lie to me ever, but I hope so, we're closer to yes. Piper, are we yes or no? Julie, we are yes or no? No, are we closer to yes or closer to no? Well then, okay, it's fine. Let's do one together. All right. Hey, for the rest of you yahoos, what's the problem with this one?
They're not X or Y.
Hey, look at the board, everyone. Sierra, I need to have your stuff out.
Isn't that just the same thing?
Right.
From variables? They got
Put
it.
it in alphabetical order.
Ah, so the natural intuition,
Okay.
the natural intuition is we would use alphabetical order. You are correct. If the letters are not X and Y, we're going to go alphabetical.
That's easy.
So is 5 an A or a B? Okay. Yes, alphabetical order. All right, Julie, this is box 6. Do you see an X and a Y or different letters? So we're going to go alphabetical. All right, everybody look at the board. That makes this 3A, G or an H. If you go alphabetical,
Liliana.
very good. She had to think about it for a second. All right, so that's my G, that's my H. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did with Chris. The procedure, if you're still lost, Julie, is we go from the left side we don't stop ever, all the way to the right side. Till we get to that 8, we're not done. If we ever come to a letter, we put parentheses and whatever it tells us to write. Don't stop. Just go from left to right. Tell me what to write. Go. Everybody else hush so I can hear her. What's the first thing you see? So what am I going to write? What? It tells you what to write. Okay. All right. What's that say? So what you were missing is the fact that we turned this into this.
Sorry.
You just got to stop. I don't care. I'm literally trying to get her to where she can understand that you're disturbing us. Thank you. Okay, Julie, what you're missing is the fact that we instead of writing y equals x equals, we choose to leave that part off and we just write x comma y. Instead of x comma y, we plug those numbers in. It's already in our brains that this stands for x and y. In this case, we don't have an x and y, we got a g and h. So it's alphabetical. The first one is, this is g. So I could write, I'm not going to, g is equal to 3 and h is equal to 3. Then as I go from left to right, if I get to a letter, I don't write the letter, I go back to over here and I see, what does it say? It says if you see the letter G, you don't write G, you write. If you see the letter H, you don't write H, you write. So I'm going to go from left to right. If you get to a letter, you're going to, instead of writing in the letter, you're going to write parentheses and plug in whatever it says. Is that better? Okay, do it. Okay. That's perfect. I mean, that's perfect. Why in the world we need parentheses for this one? Well, you would never need parentheses. It's just a letter by itself. Okay. Now, Julie, we just do PEMDAS and see if left side equals right side. 2 times 3 plus 3 is it 8? So what's the final answer? So are you closer to yes or not this yes or no? Are you closer to yes or are you closer to no? Of what to do? Thank you. And don't ever say just because I'm yelling at you or something. Always be truthful, right? Because it's fine, you know, if the answer is no. It's always fine. It just means that I'm not doing a good enough job. Chris, are we closer to the yes or are we closer to the no?
Yeah.
That's not the answer.
Yeah.
No.
No, thank you. All right. As I said, now I'm going to make a point of this. There's at least 2 people in here that are going to get this, Chris and Julie, because they said no as their first answer. If you're sitting there, Aiden, and the answer is no, but you haven't told me no. I hope so. Yeah.
I'm a little confused. So, do you add 6 plus 3?
Well, I'm going to follow this part. I'm just going to go right to PEMDAS.
Oh.
PEMDAS says do what's inside parentheses first,
Oh.
then do exponents, then do multiplication, division, and then do adding, subtracting. So before I add 3 to 2, by PEMDAS, because M comes before A, multiplication comes before addition, I got to multiply 2 times 3 first, then I can add the 3.
I think my problem was just switching. Like that one.
That, and I haven't even give you one where these are inverted from that. We can do that. All right. If there's one that causes problems, it's just a math problem. It's just fractions. All right, Kaylee, tell me what to write.
3s and 1/3 minus
Wait, say that one more time.
3s.
Why are you saying an S?
I mean, 3.
Keep talking. Okay. Oh, by the way, she left off the fact that she's going to label first ST. Keep going.
And 4.
She didn't drop the negative. All right, we got 5 minutes. Okay, so this looks more like we did last chapter that you guys claimed that this wasn't the hard part. All right, well, let's do that. Hey, anything cancel here? Kaylee, anything cancel? Okay, so that's just going to give me, anything cancel here?
2 minus 1. Wait, no.
So I got a negative and a negative. That's going to give me True or false? Well, the answer is yes. Are you closer to a yes or closer to a no? Or are you a yes or no? Yeah. Okay, so you're a yes. Okay. Do I need to individually ask everyone in here that question? Are you a yes or a no?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Long trip.
Start with the front row.
That was it.
Okay.
All right. Hey, chapter 8, better or worse?
Better.
All right. Hey, don't give up the easy stuff. Meaning, like, if we get to easy stuff, don't sit there and say, well, that's too easy. I don't need to try it. Do the work. Do your homework. When I call out the answers on Monday and you're getting some wrong, you should question yourself, those who just said, oh, that's really easy. Haley, you're a yes or no? Piper, you're closer to yes, no, or are you a yes or no?
What?
Okay, good. Sierra, yes or no? Shaking your head doesn't mean either one of those.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes or no?
Chris, more confident?
Yes.
All right. Did I leave anybody out?
Rylan, closer to yes.
Well,
I'm for it.
well, I'm saying that the math stuff is still going to be the hiccup. The actual doing the, you know,
I can handle it. I know how to sit.
All right, 2 minutes. Yeah, that thing, that doesn't sound right. I'm not sure why that.
No, what?
You can back up.
Oh my gosh. That literally is falling out.
No, that bell's right. That bell's right.
No, you
No.
downstairs.
Yes or no question? I just want to say, is it true? Yeah, well, okay, they're going to be, so it's going to be just like this. So they're, this is what they'll yes, no, that's gonna be yes. Whether order there. And you put Y or N. Did I collect homework? Yes or no? I don't remember.
We didn't have any because
We have it all. That's right.
Mr. Fortier.
Yes.
So for the geometry ones that are like that, triangle sides where it's like
Oh, okay.
would
What chapter are you in?
I'm in 5.
And what's the question?
It was like
Similarity?
3x plus 4y would equal like x or y or 15. And would I do the exact same thing as we do in this class?
Go grab the book. Or actually, behind you. Grab the book. I'm going to have to see exactly what you're asking. She's on chapter 6. You're on chapter 4. She's just about to start chapter 5. She's on chapter 4. And the other kids are on chapter 9. So I'm completely like.
Are we eating in here?
No.
No.
All right, get out of here. Okay, so let's use this figure. So this is the basic thing that says that if this line cuts these pieces proportionally, right? This is 2, this is 2, this is 2, then any transversal doesn't mean that they're equal to 2, 2, 2, but if AB was 5, then that's 5, that's 5. So if these are congruent, then all of those will be another number congruent. So let's see. So AB, so they're giving me one piece of this is equal to 15. And by the way, it says that they're parallel, and it says EF is equal to EG. So there's your setup that all of these are proportional, all of these are proportional, or congruent, sorry. So AB is 15, BC, so that means this would have to equal this. That means that 2x minus y would have to equal 15. So you're going to have two variables running around. We haven't got to this. Okay, now I understand why you're asking the question. So this is going to be part of this chapter. How do you solve two variables?
My dad tried to explain it to me.
So it's
last
called
night,
system
but
of equations. Did you use that word? System of equations?
He
Oh, I got to turn off the video.
He doesn't remember what the names were.
Yeah,
but
it's called
he's-
system
There's
of
a reason he's not a math teacher. He can understand, but he's terrible at explaining.
All right. It's not as bad as it looks. Basically, you're just going to set up as